Hello citizens, it is I, the Emerald King. Welcome to my first build guide in Monster Hunter Wilds. We have a few days until the Summer Game Fest, well, a few days from when this video will probably be uploaded. So, we have a few days before we possibly get some Monster Hunter Wilds DLC news. And with that said, we need a build, because Master Rank is gonna hit like a truck. So without further ado, let me show you what I got. Now, to start off, I have a few builds that we are going to go over. These four, the Ice, Fire, Water, and Thunder builds, are relatively the same, just different weapons. The Longsword build for Dragon Element, however, is different. The reason we're only going over element builds is because Monster Hunter Wilds hasn't really done well with raw damage builds. Status elements like Blast and Sleep and Paralysis have really been given the short end of the stick ever since the title updates rolled out. You typically want to make sure you have a element weapon for the monster you're going to hunt, especially monsters like Gogmazios or Savage Omega, and definitely Arkveld. Well, Arch-Tempered Arkveld. So, we are only going to be going over my element builds. I do not have a raw damage build because, like I said, raw damage has been given the short end of the stick, so we might as well make do with what we can with the element weapons. And for the weapons, speaking of, we're going to be rocking the Gogmazios Longsword. Obviously, in this game, if it ain't Gog, it ain't good. Unfortunately, I hope they fix that in the DLC. With set bonus for Fulgur and Janaf Will, so that way we can increase the stamina bar so we can get more leeway when we're using Foresight Slash, which takes up a lot of stamina. Your secondary weapon, it could be anything so long as you have the Fulgur and Janaf Will on it. I got the Hunting Horn. I'm still trying to get that set bonus for that. And then going on to the armor, first off we have the Guardian Ebony Helm for 2 levels of burst and Ebony Odogaron power for burst boost to increase the amount of element damage and raw damage we are doing. Second up, we got the Arch-Tempered Arkveld Mail for 3 levels of Convert Element and 1 level of Blight Resistance. The Blight Resistance isn't really the big takeaway from this. We're just mainly focusing the Convert Element and the slots, of course. Gogmazios Vam Braces for 2 levels of Max Might, 1 level of Agitator, a level of Gogpocalypse, and a level of Fulgur and Janaf Will, which activates the second wind. And then we have the Gogmazios Coil with 2 levels of Burst, another level of Gogmapocalypse, so we can activate Gogpocalypse, or Mutual Hostility, and then, of course, a level of Ebony Power for that burst boost to kick in. Finally, Longsword, of course, we want the Uvduna Gamma Greaves, which give 3 levels of Quick Sheath and 1 level of Agitator. Plus, with the Uvduna Greaves and the Arkveld chest piece, all you need to do is try to get the group skill Lord Soul on the Longsword, and boom, you'll have Lord Soul. For the Talisman, you kinda could just pick any talisman that gives you, so long as it gives you a level of Burst or a level of Agitator. I went with this one because this one gives 1 level of Burst and 3 levels of Handicraft, which Sharpness is awesome for a Longsword. And then the Rocksteady Mantle. These are what my deco slots look like. Go ahead and give those a quick look over. And your skill set should look something like this. 5 levels of Crit Boost to get the max damage possible. 3 levels of Handicraft. Well, if you're using the Talisman that I have. 3 levels of Attack Boost. 1 level of Razor Sharp. And then 5 Constitution, Agitator, and Burst. Maxed out Counter Strike, Max Might, and Convert Element and Quick Sheath. And then you got that 1 level of Peak Performance and Blight Resistance. I had an extra 1 slot, so I made sure to get some Shock Absorber in there, you know, so I'm not tripping everyone. And then the set bonus skills, you have the Burst Boost, Second Wind, and Gogmapocalypse. With all these skills, you should be doing the max amount of dragon damage with this build, especially if you get hit, which will activate Convert Element, which takes all the element damage you take and dishes it back out as more dragon damage. So, if you're looking for something that can help you shut down Gogmazios' fuck you attack, this is definitely it. Now we're going to divert our attention over to the rest of my element builds, which is relatively the same, actually. The only difference is we're slotting in the Udra Meyer mail instead of the Gamma mail for the maxed out Counter-Strike. And then, of course, like I said, max crit boost, razor sharp. Go ahead and take a chance to look over all of this before I show this. Essentially, it's the same outcome, just we've tossed convert elements since we don't need the dragon damage on a non-dragon build. Crit boost, handicraft, fire attack up, sharpness, or water attack or ice or whatever, depending on your element build. Maxed out agitator, burst, and constitution. And then I was able to slot in one level of latent power down here. Technically, you could argue slotting in a tenderizer for that extra like 8% affinity, but I went with throttle because that gives 10% when you either take enough damage or enough time has passed, and then stamina reduction, which is always lovely for the longsword. Again, same thing, ebony power boost, Fulgrange and F-Will, and Gogma Apocalypse. And the reason that I'm going with the Gogma Hunting Horn for this build, because technically you could do whatever Gogma weapon you want, or for Hunting Horns you could do whatever Hunting Horn you want, depending on the buffs it gives. However, we're going with Gog on this one to complete the build, and because it gives element attack boost, which is lovely. Restore sharpness is always nice, and blight negation is always nice. The last thing anyone ever wants to do is get thunder blighted when fighting a arch tempered Raidao. And confirm, not fun. If you guys have any suggestions or recommendations in the comments, please let me know. I am always looking to improve my build to the best I can get it, especially before a Master Rank DLC is to drop. So that is good. Like I said, small video. Just going over all my personal builds that I like to use. Most of this is RNG. I do not have a non-RNG build. I am sorry about that. But I do hope that you guys find this video informative and useful. And I hope you guys incorporate some of my little logic into your builds. Or you could go ahead and share your logic with me. Because not every build will be perfect. Especially in a game where you can kind of just play how you want. Thank you all so much for tuning in. If you didn't like the video, go and hit the like button, subscribe button, and the little bell so you never miss another one. And without further ado, the Emerald King bows his crown to you all and bids you all a fair evening. Love you guys. Deuces!